Well, developing this morning in Beaumont, voters, they now have a lot to decide come November. Yesterday, city council members and the mayor, they voted on the bond that'll be on the ballot, the bond package, I should say, which includes several propositions. And this morning, we are lucky to have Beaumont's Mayor Roy West in studio to discuss what is on that bond proposal. Good morning, and thank you for joining us.
Well, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Let's talk about it. We've got our sheets right
Yes,
here.
sir.
We got a lot of big projects on here, but run me through maybe some of the highlights.
Well, this is an exciting time for Beaumont because the residents are getting to say about what the future of Beaumont will look like. And we've got several projects on there we'll run through in a minute, but I want to remind people these aren't new projects. These are projects, many of them have been talked about for a long time, but couldn't be funded through the general funds. So whenever they were always going to be funded through a general obligation bond in order for them to be built. And but these are changes people will certainly notice. It's the first bond election for the city of Beaumont in 43 years, so it's a big moment.
It was almost like, dare I say, birthing pains watching the last couple of meetings, one on Monday and one on Tuesday. Y'all had some big decisions. Ultimately, it came down to almost a marketing presentation to the community. You wanted to keep the total bond package under $300 million and the cost to the average taxpayer under $15 per month per every $150,000 of property value. What we lost in that, though, was the Dowland Road extension, a major project. But let's talk about what we still have in this bond package.
Well, and that's really more of the story, you know, is because until we passed allowing for a bond issue, we had none of this available to us. So there's lots of wins, but it was important having a bond advisory committee. You know, they had done study that this council had appointed, and some of the bond advisory members were involved in this before 4 of our council people were even elected. So I applaud our new council as well, because there's just been drinking water out of a fire hose, if you will. There's a lot of information in their first 3 months. And the first part's infrastructure, which we're looking at $58 million. The biggest ticket item on that is additional drainage. And, you know, this is in addition to everything that is already being done. So, you know, when it comes to roads, when it comes to water, when it comes to sewer, you know, your water and sewer rates help pay for your water and sewer. And we've been very progressive on that. But this is new drainage, new street improvements, and then also a citywide sidewalk initiative.
And that's going to let you know, really put together a plan for where sidewalks need to be based on where the most demand is for them, so that you'll be prepared to go after maybe some grants or some state funding and things like that. Always important to have a plan. And, you know, as we say about infrastructure, and what I understand, a lot of this is maintenance, or it's not necessarily new capacity or anything like that. And that's what voters are really concerned about. Let's fix a lot of the infrastructure that we have.
That's right.
And this $58 million really gets at that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then we move into facilities and public safety. And, you know, Beaumont has been around since 1838. And obviously, none of our buildings have been that old, but several of them, you know, we're looking at a new fire station at station number 4, which is at Lucas and Gladys. And it was built in 1954. A new animal care shelter that, for people that have been out there, it is it's too small and not designed as they should be today. So that's very exciting and something that's been talked about for a long time. And also, our police station is over 50 years old. The elevator doesn't work lots of times. You know, the building's gotten tired, and our police are spread out over 7 buildings. So we're looking at another, which is big ticket item, a new police headquarters, which we're talking right at $60 million.
And y'all dropped that price tag because it was originally $100 million. So y'all have definitely been making some cuts to these projects to fit them into something that the voters could go for. I'm interested about that multi-purpose sports and community facility. Is that still going to be downtown?
Well, we've got 2 that we're looking at. One specifically will go into Alice Keith Park in the south end, because we have a $2 million grant from the state for that as well. The other one, it has been talked about either downtown or at the athletic complex on College. And that decision isn't a part of this bond decision. As once this passed, then we'll be able to do facilities study for many municipal buildings to make sure we're putting them in the correct spot.
Mayor, we'll bring this, we'll start to wrap up this interview here. Of course, Riverfront Park extension, that had a bit of contention on it last night with one council member, but that's also in there as a separate proposition. And then the last proposition is going to be that Point Parkway North Extension, Proposition E. Of course, most important to inform yourself, go to BeaumontBonds.com. I want to give you kind of the last sentiment here, but I just ask you to be quick with it. Dallin Road, major project, didn't make the cut here. What's the future of that project?
Well, it can certainly be on a future bond project. That's not a problem. And we didn't mention parks and trails and recreation, which are really important.
Yes.
That's a $37 million project. But again, as you said, BeaumontBonds.com, you can go get that information. The city's going to be pushing out a lot of information. And as y'all are doing this morning, I know y'all will be getting the information out again, and I thank you for that.
Mayor Roy West, thank you so much for joining us. So much information to go over. Thank you for giving us some time on this.
Yes, sir.